Monitors. This has been like the month or two of monitors for me. You know, I don't know what's going on here. I haven't found like PVMs for a long time, and then suddenly I'm finding them at good prices. So I don't know. I have these things I feel like I should share. Maybe we'll glean some information. Some of these PVMs there's lots of information on. Some of them there isn't. So I'm just going to talk about some recent finds. So a couple videos back, I did a video on a PVM, I think it was the 20M2NU. Really nice monitor, has like two RGB connectors on the back. Now a gentleman in my comments complained that when I played the video, he was hearing this extremely high-pitched noise, and it was driving him nuts, and I was like, I don't hear anything. I rewatched the video on YouTube and my master copy, didn't hear anything. Someone else commented, they say, I don't hear anything. I looked, my dogs, dogs are, hear higher frequency than human beings. They weren't reacting at all to it. So I was like, okay, I don't know. Well, I've had a lot of luck finding these things, but very rarely do I find them in great condition. Apparently that PVM does have some sort of issue, because I realized after some extended playing, not even that extended, maybe 10-15 minutes, I could start hearing a very high-pitched sound, and it got worse and worse and worse, and it made the thing unusable. And then when you turned it off, it made a lot of like scary sounding pops. I think that one has some capacitor problems, maybe the flyback transformer. I don't know. I found a guy that's willing to fix it for a reasonable amount of money, but I've got all these monitors now. I don't even know. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Maybe I'll get rid of some of these monitors and use the money to fix that one, because it is probably the newest monitor of all of the monitors I have, and it's really nice and I like it, so I might do that. But let's look at some of these monitors that I've actually picked up recently. You'll notice it's because the weight, they push down and they kind of dig their fronts into the bed. I'm sorry, I don't have a table to display these on, so this is just kind of obviously this is kind of a quick impromptu video, so bear with me. It's going to be a little rougher than usual. Okay, so the first one we're going to look at is this little guy. And this is a JVC. I'm really starting to like JVC. And this is a very simple 10-inch monitor. I'll get you the model here, but it just has buttons for chroma, contrast, it has volumes, a menu button. The menu is very kind of basic. It only has 2 inputs and then a power button. So, okay, so the model on this is a TM-A101G. I basically got this as kind of like a workbench monitor because it's very small and light. It's multi-format, so it does PAL, NTSC, CE-CAM, C-SCAM, whatever it's called. And it's small and light, and I figured it would make good either like a computer monitor for old computers that use composite, or just as like for testing things. Now it has BNC, but as you can see, it only has composite. It has composite in and out, and then it does have audio. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, this is just a little color composite monitor. I've kind of been looking for one of these. So actually, I'm going to hook it up to my Apple IIe, and I'll just show you real quick it in action. So very simple. I just have it hooked up to the power, and then I have one of those BNC to RCA connectors here on the composite in, and then I've connected this composite cable to the Apple II. Alright, so here it is on the Apple II. I'll eventually do a review on this Apple II one of these days. There's still some things I want to do with it, and we're going to try out a Lucasfilm Games Rescue on Fractalus. I guess I should turn those lights out so you can see it better too. Alright, so I'm going to power on the monitor. No, this is riveting stuff, I'm sure. There's the LED. Oh, and this image is upside down. Okay, there we go. This camera has a bad habit of like, I'll be filming something and then I'll see the little viewfinder and like it's inverted, everything's upside down, and I'm like, oh geez, I just filmed all that upside down, and then I have to put it in a program and reflip it or just keep it upside down. Anyways, let me start up. Now I haven't cleaned this screen completely yet. It could use some more cleaning. Let me turn on the Apple. All right. We have Apple IIe. Focus. Doesn't want to focus, but it looks good. And a little NTSC. And then we have Rescue on Fractalus. Now, it's probably too dark, so because I don't know if you can see the, where the monitor actually is, but this image is shifted a little bit to the right, which is annoying. And I'm not sure how to fix that either, because the menu is very limited here. Sorry, it's dark, I can't see. So that's the menu button, and it only brings up 3 things: sharpness, color system, which it's on auto, but that's just the PAL, NTSC, and aspect ratio. And that's it. That's all for the menu. There's those other buttons, but that's just for like brightness and contrast. So I don't know, there's probably a service menu. I haven't looked that up yet. Yeah, hopefully I can get into the service menu and adjust it. It should be simple. I just need to move the image over a little bit to the left. I just want to center it, basically. But it's a very nice, crisp, composite image. So I think this will make a good little kind of workbench monitor. All right, so next up we have our Sony. This is a PVM1354Q. Obviously this is an aperture grill as opposed to the JVC, which it should be using a shadow mask. It's a little bit bigger. This is a 13-incher. It's a little bit later. It's an HR. I believe that stands for high resolution Trinitron. This does not do above 480i, but it's a nice little monitor. I actually picked this one up some time ago. I just never did a video on it. I like all the dials. I like how it's easier to access stuff on the front with just a button, as opposed to like having to go into menus and stuff on the screen. I do really like that. I don't really have too much to say about this. It is a nice monitor, obviously multi-format. Spin it around and look on the back. The one thing I don't like about this monitor is, unlike a lot of PVMs that have handles, that's bare. There's no handles on this thing, but it's small enough that it's not too unwieldy. So let's just look at what we've got here. Pretty standard. We've got composite in, we've got an S-video in, and we have audio. There's a speaker in here. Little thing for a remote. I've never bothered with those things. And it does RGB and component. This is a later one. The later ones will do component. I do not know what year. Well, actually, this says November of 1995, which is interesting because I didn't think they had ones that used component in 1995. But I don't know. Sometimes there's dates on these things, and they're not like actual dates that it was something else. But I don't see any other dates. But I guess there was. I don't know. Correct. Someone that knows better, please correct me in the or inform us in the comments if this really is from 95 and there's a component, because a lot of the old ones, like post 2000, they're just like RGB. I'll show you that in a second. But yeah, this one is RGB and component, so it does both, but it only has one, unlike my other, the one that has the high-pitched whining sound, which has two. But it's a nice small monitor. This one had some issues with geometry. I went into the service menu. I straightened most of those issues out, but it's a nice little, really sharp monitor. If you don't like a small screen, you might not like this monitor, but I think 13 inches is not bad. So finally, let's move on to this guy here. This is the Sony 20N2U. So this is another 20-incher. this is I think this may have been a more kind of cut down and bare bones. It's just Trinitron. You'll see on the front, I've got to lift it up a bit, a lot more bare bones as far as like buttons and dials and connections. Power, you know, you still have a menu you can go into and do stuff on screen, but personally I prefer all the buttons on the front. There's only 3 things here. We got line A, B, and RGB. So let's take a look at the back of this guy. Alright, so if you can see by this little sticker, this used to belong to Collins College. We have a manufacture date on here of July 1997. So I'm wondering if that, on that 1354Q, maybe that wasn't a manufacture date, maybe that was a different kind of date. Or maybe it was, I don't know. But yeah, it's pretty simple on the back. Just have one S-video in. We have, well, 2 S-videos and then 2 composites, but it's line A or B. And then we have, this is just RGB. So RGB, and then the sync, this does not do component. So it's RGB only, and then it does have audio in. So I think I'm probably going to use this to replace that one that has the high pitch sound until I get that fixed. So I'm going to hook this up quick, and then we'll see it in action. Alright, so here it is. I'm going to use Phantasy Star again just because that's the system I currently have hooked up. I'm still playing that game. Very close to the end though, but that's why I keep using it in these examples. And I've been getting all these monitors like in the past 2 or 3 months, so you know, I've just been picking away at that game, but it's just there when I do these videos. So this is the RGB. I have it hooked up via RGB. We're gonna see Phantasy Star on this thing. Now the one thing to note about this, it's a slightly lower horizontal resolution than the 1354Q, that the 13-inch PVM. It has 600 lines. This is only a 500 line PVM, but on the flip side of that, you are getting like 6 inches more of screen real estate. So it's really up to you, the trade-off. For a bigger image, bigger screen, you lose a little bit of sharpness. So let's power it up. I actually just got this PVM today, so haven't done any tweaking or calibrations or anything like that. But I did do a quick test of the game earlier, and it seemed all right. So here we go. Put some music. It still looks really great. It's a little bit hard to tell. I mean, I've been using those 14-inch, the L5, which is like, I think it's something crazy. I think that's an 800 line monitor. And I've been using that 1354Q. So I mean, this is a little bit of a downgrade, but it doesn't look a whole lot. I mean, you can tell a little bit, but it's still a phenomenal image. So let me I'll continue a game. So here we are. And I think the one thing I'm gonna have to adjust again, I think the image is shifted a little bit. Everything looks good here. I don't really see any major geometry issues. I don't see anything really stretching, which is a little bit of an issue I had on the 1354Q. Again, this camera really doesn't you know, show you guys, you know, how good stuff really looks, because we're all looking at it through this camera, but it really is a good image. Here we're going to a battle here, and here's the thing. See, it's cut off a little bit here, whereas, see, it should. So I think I need to mess with the horizontal thing. But the geometry, it's not bad, but it could use some tweaking. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to get into the service menu on this guy. It's probably a little bit different than the 1354Q, seeing as there's no decals button on the front. So I gotta figure that out and then do some tweaking. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go with this one. I think I'm going to favor larger screen size over sharpness and quality a little bit, especially that next game I'm gonna play is probably another Master System game, so I don't really demand the highest, you know, from these older games. Yeah, you can tell it does need some tweaking, but the colors, in my opinion, look really good. Just needs some tweaking. So I think that's all for this video. I actually have another weird monitor I picked up with this lot that I'm gonna do a video, but I think it's gonna have its own little video. So again, thanks for watching. More stuff coming. I think I'm done with these CRTs. I don't know. I don't know. I've got so many right now. I don't know what to do with them. But thank you guys again for watching. I've got more stuff coming. So thanks.